It's fear-induced excitement. I'm just really nervous.
Everyone, I have an announcement.
I'm finally starting a booktube. Don't know what I'm doing. My life isn't that extraordinary. It's really quite ordinary. I'm just a girl who lives in Sweden, who's studying, and the second she comes home, changes into pajamas and reads and writes and paints and enjoys books. But this is going to be my first video, and I wanted to do a little introduction to me as a reader by sharing some of my favorite authors and their best works according to me. Their best books according to me. I can't even speak. For all the new watchers and for the old ones, I wanted to start this channel by sharing my favorite authors and my favorite books from each of those authors as just recommendations, but also a little bit of a get to know me as a reader. So let's get into it. That was awkward. Alright, let's start with two authors that I've only read one book of them each, and I discovered them only last year, but I have to give them a shout out. It's The Crimson Moth by Kristen Ciccarelli. I hope I'm pronouncing one of those correctly. I can't wait for the second book in the series, which comes out this year. I think it's only going to be a duology though, so that will be the finish. But this is so good. I love this. I need more witchy books. And then we have The Games Gods Play, which I actually read this year. It was my first book of 2025, and it was my first 5-star read of 2025. I inhaled this. Like, I can't decide how I'm going to stand because I can't sit like that. Anyways, I inhaled this. This was... I can't even explain it. It had a grumpy Hades who gets entwined with a mortal who has to compete in a deadly game on his behalf. This is so good, and look at those edges, and just... if this art doesn't make you want to read it, I don't know what will. She has, like, how do I explain this? He, as a gift, before she starts competing, gives her animals that are tattooed on his arm that go over to her arm that she can call on anytime during the games that she wants, that have different skills. So she has an owl, a panther, a fox, a spider, and then there's a butterfly, but the butterfly refused to go over to her, and I still don't know why. So maybe that was a minor spoiler. Does that count as spoiler? Anyway, I was obsessed. This inspired a future book is tattoo that I want already, and the next book comes out this year, so I can't wait. I changed the setup a little bit and I am sweating. I don't know why I'm feeling so nervous. I'm just alone talking to my camera. Next up is Kerri Maniscalco. I inhale whatever she writes. And the Stalking Yak, the Ripper series, it's one of the greatest series of all time. This is so good. And if you haven't read this, but you've read like Kingdom of Wicked or haven't read anything from Kerri at all, start with this. Read this. Get to this now. This is like Audrey Rose and Thomas. There's no love story that rivals theirs. If you want journeying and like not insta love, but a lot of journeying, this is the series for you. Another two authors that I discovered in the year of 2024, or they discovered me. These books like came to me. They called to me. I was meant to read this. The 7 Year Slip is my absolute favourite of Ashley Poston. I will buy anything she writes from now on. I have read The Deadly Romantics and A Novel Love Story. This is the best. This was the first I read, so maybe that's why. But I forced my mum to read this in Christmas. I didn't force it to her. I gave the book to her for Christmas. And she absorbed it, and she was just as obsessed as I was. And Ashley Poston is a wordsmith. She is so good at writing exciting, but at the same time, like, daunting love stories. You know when you feel like that moment when the shoe is about, like the other shoe is about to drop, that's what you feel throughout all of her stories, but in the best way. I just held my breath throughout all of her books, and then when you close the last page and you finally breathe out, it's like you're forever changed. Nothing will ever be the same again. You won't look at the world in the same way again. Next we have Abby Jimenez. I have read 2 of her trilogies. I don't know if she has any more, but they're set in the same world. I read the trilogy that this one is a part of first, which is Yours Truly, Just for the Summer, and the first one is Part of Your World. And then I read the trilogy that I think plays out before this timeline-wise. I don't know. But Yours Truly was my favourite. This was an easy 5-star read. I read this in the summer. I laughed, I cried. I just had an amazing time. Abby is releasing another book, Say You'll Remember Me, at, I can't remember when, but in 2025. I will be running, sprinting to the bookstore to get it. Not that we have any good bookstores in Sweden, so that was just like a saying. I won't actually be able to do that, but I will be sprinting to Amazon. I get so excited when I talk about books that I quite literally like make my body think it's like it has to flee for its life. I start sweating profusely. Anyway, this is a nice first impression, by the way, but I'm like putting myself in fight or flight mode by getting so overly excited about these books that I've already read. Next we have Mariana Zapata. I have read not all of her books, but a good chunk of them. Wait for It is one of my hopefuls for January. I can't wait to read that one. Larry Reeds is hyping that one up, and I trust her with my life. Aurora's Lead Here is my favourite of Mariana Zapata's books so far. This is the slow burn of a lifetime. It's a single dad having to start over and dealing with that, and like dealing with grief, and I just remember this having a chokehold on me. I'm one of those people who, when I've closed a book, that like any memory of it goes out of my head except for certain parts, and there's a part where she's out hiking. That's really stuck with me. I'm not gonna say more than that. The second I sit down to film myself talking about books, I actually like forget everything about the books I'm talking about. But I'm doing my best. Okay, clearly I need to chill, but that's gonna be difficult because some of my absolute favourites are coming up. Starting with Ali Hazelwood. I don't have words. Hence the silence. Everything she writes, it resonates with me. These are 2 of my favourites of hers, along with the Load to Love You collection of novellas, because that is also really, really good. Not in Love was good, but it wasn't a hit. Before Not in Love, I'd never rated anything she had written lower than a 4-star. Not in Love was a 3-star, sadly, but these are 2 very solid 5 stars. Her first YA novel, that's just, I don't care if you think Shaq is boring. It won't be. Not after you read this. Like, this made me want to learn how to play chess. This made me want to reenact a certain chess scene, and not in a spicy way. Just a cute, romantic, innocent, like, I just want to be with you as a person part. Like, I don't have a person like that, but in my dreams I do. And then we have Love Theoretically, which is just... Next up we have an author who may not have had as much of an like emotional effect on me, but anything she writes I will inhale. They are so good, they are so entertaining, they are so funny, and she can definitely write sexy as fuck main characters, or main love interests mainly. But also female characters that I can really see parts of myself with, and that really resonates with me. And 2 of those are Heartless and Reckless by Elsie fucking Silver. This is the queen of cowboy romance. Like, she is the epitome of cowboy romances at its best. Each one just gets better and better and better, and she just sets the bar. Like, she keeps raising the bar, and I don't know how she keeps doing it, but these single dad books, specifically these 2, oh my god, Kate Eaton and Theo Silva, I dream about you at night. And also, like, coincidentally, they have the two best male characters and the two best female characters, Willa and Winter, and I see different parts of myself in both of these girls, and I think that's why, like, I don't know, I ate them up. We've reached like maybe my top 3 authors, which is in no specific order, but perhaps also it's because they're my top absolute favorite books of all time as well. But starting off with Chloe Walsh. This woman can break my heart over and over again. She has broken my heart into so small pieces that I didn't think it was capable of breaking anymore, and then she managed to just stomp on it some more. These are the cutest, sweetest, funniest, most heartbreaking, gut-wrenching, sobbing my eyes out romance stories that you will ever read. And a lot of people may wonder, why does a romance story need to be this thick? It needed to be thicker. Like, I want more. Everyone wants more. You can't complain about the thickness of these after you've read them because you want them to be thicker. Next up, we have 2 authors that have written my holy grail romance series, which my good friend Sophia recommended to me, and I will forever owe her a life debt for recommending these to me, and that is Krista and Becca Ritchie, that have written the Addicted / Calloway series and the Like Us series that follows it. These are not the books that start either of those series, but they're my favorites from them and my favorite couples from them. It's just... The Addicted Calloway series sets it off, following 3 sisters throughout the series and the things that they go through and the things that the men that they love go through. Never in my life, if you had asked me 4 years ago, 3 years ago even, if I would have picked up a like 20 book romance series, I would have told you to fuck off. Who the fuck wants that much romance? Well, apparently I do, because I think about these every day. Every day. Not a day goes by that I don't wish I lived in this world and that Charlie Keaton Coble was my boyfriend. It's the loss of my life. He is the loss of my life and the love of my life, and I will never meet him, and it's a tragedy. It's not fair. It really isn't. It's... He's my soulmate, and he isn't even real. Like, last one I don't think comes as a surprise to anyone as a fantasy reader. It's like quite obvious. Sarah J. Maas. This woman can write a good series. Absolute favorite. It's the first one of hers that I read. I love Bryce with my entire being. I will defend her until the end of time. I love Hunt. I love Rune. I love Ethan. I love Le Harbour. I love everyone in this. This is the highest of fantasies. Like, I can't even explain it. It has everything that you could ever want, and I know that it's thick, I know that it's long, I know that it's a lot of world building, but once you get into it, like, you will be obsessed. And then we have, of course, Throne of Glass. This is, I would say, the best series that Sarah J. Maas has written. Crescent City is the best book, but this is the best series. Just read it. If you haven't read it, just read it. You will be obsessed. This is absolutely amazing. It's the masterpiece. Each book gets better than the last. I'm doing a reread this year and I'm so excited. How do people actually make outros and intros? I have no idea. I watch so much booktube, but doing it yourself is a different thing entirely. But if you stay this long in the video, this is your sign to start a booktube. If you love books, if you want to share books or talk about books, just do it. Like, who gives a shit what those bullies from middle school would think now? They suck. They're always gonna suck. Like, don't let them control you anymore. Don't let them get in the way of doing what you actually love. So this is your sign. Start it. This was a long and somewhat chaotic introduction to me as a YouTuber, but I'm gonna learn as I go along. I'm a girl who has no idea what she's doing. I just want this to be fun. I want it to be a fun, safe space where people can share the things that they love and just, I don't know, maybe spend some time with me. I don't know. That sounds weird. Welcome to my page, my loves. I hope you'll stick around and I'll hopefully see you later.